The war between the United States, Israel, and Iran has now entered its sixth day or seventh, depending on whether the initial February 28th strikes count as day one, and the fighting shows no signs of slowing. Explosions continue to rock Tehran, sirens wail in Israeli cities, and the conflict has spilled far beyond the Middle East into the Indian Ocean, the Caucasus, and even threatening global shipping lanes. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, in a fresh exclusive interview with NBC Nightly News broadcast from a damaged Tehran, struck a defiant tone. Speaking amid ongoing airstrikes, he declared that Iran is fully prepared and waiting for them if American forces attempt a ground invasion. It would be a big disaster for them, he warned, emphasizing no interest in ceasefire talks or negotiations at this stage. The message was clear. Iran sees this as an existential fight and is bracing for prolonged asymmetric warfare. In one of the most significant naval developments since World War II, a U.S. Navy attack submarine torpedoed and sank the Iranian Mauj-class frigate Iristina in the Indian Ocean, roughly 40 nautical miles off Sri Lanka's southern coast near Galley. The ship, returning from naval exercises near India, was hit by a Mark 48 torpedo. Pentagon officials, including Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, described it as a quiet death, the first enemy warship sunk by U.S. torpedo fire since 1945. Sri Lankan authorities rescued around 30 to 32 survivors, but over 100 Iranian sailors are reported killed or missing. This marks a major escalation, pushing the war into international waters and raising alarms about threats to commercial shipping far from the Persian Gulf. Tehran faced its 11th major wave of Israeli airstrikes overnight, with strikes hammering remaining command centers, missile production sites, IRGC facilities, and even symbolic regime targets. Flames illuminated the capital as CNN became the first major Western news outlet to report live from inside Iran since the conflict began, with correspondent Frederick Pleitgen on the ground documenting widespread destruction and rising casualties. Independent estimates put Iranian deaths in the thousands, including over 1,000 civilians and military personnel, though official Iranian figures remain significantly lower. Iran's counterstrikes persist on multiple fronts. Fresh ballistic missile and drone barrages hit Israel today, with cluster munitions landing near Tel Aviv and causing dozens of injuries, bringing confirmed Israeli civilian and military deaths from Iranian fire to over a dozen, with more than 1,000 wounded. In the Gulf, Iranian missiles targeted Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar again. One got through with limited damage, but Qatari F-15s achieved what may be the war's first confirmed air-to-air kills by downing 2 Iranian Su-24 bombers. Drones attributed to Iran, though Tehran denies direct involvement and suggests possible Israeli false flag operations struck Azerbaijan's Nakhchivan exclave, damaging the international airport terminal and landing near a school. 4 people injured. Baku labeled it terrorism and has partially closed its airspace while mobilizing forces and threatening retaliation. Hezbollah has intensified rocket fire into northern Israel, prompting IDF ground advances deeper into southern Lebanon and evacuation orders for parts of Beirut's southern suburbs. Reports also indicate threats to oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz and Arabian Gulf, including one U.S. flagged tanker attacked and set on fire. Iran continues to threaten partial or full closure of the strait, though it has not yet acted. Any such move could spike global oil prices to $152 per barrel overnight, benefiting Russia while hammering China and the world economy. The conflict's origins trace back to February 28, 2026, when coordinated U.S.-Israeli operations, codenamed Operation Epic Fury U.S. and Operation Roaring Lion Israel, launched with precision strikes that killed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the defense minister, armed forces chief of staff, and key IRGC commanders, in a single devastating blow to a leadership meeting in Tehran. Iran's response came via Operation True Promise IV, massive barrages of ballistic missiles and drones aimed at Israel, U.S. bases, and Gulf allies. Iran fights asymmetrically, relying on proxies like Hezbollah, Iraqi PMF militias, and Houthis to stretch enemy resources. Yet the U.S.-Israeli air campaign has achieved dominance. Roughly 60% of Iran's ballistic missile launchers destroyed or degraded. Its air force largely grounded, many Su-24S and F-14S downed or non-operational, and naval assets crippled. Next phases could target remaining nuclear-related sites like Natanz and Fordo remnants, plus deeper underground bunkers. Despite the losses, Iran's regime demonstrates resilience. An interim leadership council has taken over operations and the system, designed for survival after decapitation strikes. Shows no immediate collapse. Proxies remain active, cyber capabilities loom, and naval mines or further asymmetric tools could still disrupt shipping. Global stakes continue rising. Stock markets slide, airlines cancel regional flights, and thousands of expats and Western citizens remain stranded. In the U.S., Congress debates war powers. Senate Republicans rejected a halt resolution with a House vote pending. President Trump vows to raise Iran's missile and nuclear programs, annihilate its navy, and prevent breakout, with no ground troops yet, but promises of progressively deeper strikes and more forces incoming. Hegseth has suggested the campaign could last weeks to months. Regional reactions vary. Qatar condemns violations but quietly supports. Saudi Arabia and UAE remain publicly silent but reportedly cooperative. Lebanon teeters on full escalation. Adversaries Russia and China condemn the strikes as aggression, vetoing UNSC ceasefire efforts. Europe adopts defensive postures, deploying naval assets near Cyprus after earlier Iranian drone incidents there. The path forward looks grim. Escalation risks include a massive proxy wave, Hezbollah attempting major incursions, Houthis closing the Red Sea, intensified bunker busting on leadership hitouts, or accidental hits on Russian/Chinese assets triggering wider involvement. De-escalation remains narrow, possible via Chinese mediation or back channels through Oman and Qatar, but unlikely soon given the rhetoric. Long-term scenarios range from attempted regime change without full occupation arming Kurdish or internal opposition to a drawn-out air war draining all sides, massive refugee flows into Turkey and Europe, or cyber retaliation hitting global infrastructure. This is no short conflict. Israeli officials privately estimate months of operations. Energy markets, supply chains, regional stability, and countless lives remain in the balance as the multi-front inferno burns on. Stay vigilant and informed. What do you see as the most likely next move? Pray for peace wherever you are.